Welcome to RGBA, where we cover technology news, cool gadgets, and do product reviews. This is episode number 31. My name is Alexandre Valia-Lagacé, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler Menard. This week, we discuss the downfall of connected devices, and we review the Pixels.
So this week, Netflix announced that they're finally allowing us to download shows to watch in the train when we pass under tunnels. Yeah, so it's only available on devices, so iPhones and Android phones, and you can download episodes to watch off air. So in planes, I think it's the biggest. It's the biggest advantage for in planes, I'd say.
Yeah, it's very easy to do. There's a little arrow you just tap and you download the episodes. And Netflix, being a streaming company, they basically have very good algorithm to compress the episodes, and you can usually get something like an hour show for about 400 megs. So it's not super space intensive. So you can probably download, maybe, I don't know, if you have a 32 gigs device, you can probably download the full seasons, a couple seasons of shows and a couple movies with no space problems. So this is probably the single most requested feature for Netflix or any streaming apps there is. Lots of people are just have some time to spare in the bus, and not everybody resorts to piracy. So this is kind of like the legitimized version to do that. And yeah, for many of the great shows, it's implemented, so you can just go ahead and download them right now.
Does YouTube do this?
Nope.
Can you download it? No.
Maybe if you're a YouTube Red subscriber, which I'm not, so I'm not sure about this.
We don't have it in Canada, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's only in the US.
Yeah, so maybe they have some more features that we do, until the day that you flick the switch and you actually see YouTube Red options. You might not be able to see those if there is the possibility to do it. But yeah, and sadly, it's not available for everything though. Of course, every Netflix made shows is available, but some other movies or TV shows are not. So I'm not sure if it's probably because there's contractual agreements, and this was kind of like one extra point in the contract that was added for recent negotiations. Therefore, older shows or older signed agreements do not allow for this. But right now, I think there's like at least close to 800 or 1,000 shows available to download. So it's quite nice. Dan Morin, writer for Six Colors, wrote a post for Macworld speaking about the Airport Extreme that could be reincarnated into that next that rumored Siri device, which would go against Amazon's Alexa. His ideas are basically that Apple might be doing, that's all in his head. It's like he imagines this as the dream device. It would be like a Airport Extreme with Siri speakers and microphones all in one, with also the HomeKit ability to control your devices from outside of your house. So it's interesting, but it only takes into account that some people have their router on their office desk, but there's also many people like me and you who have a dedicated room for where all the wires converge, and that's where you put your router usually, or the
machine room.
Yeah, the machine room. So you basically have this little room that's usually in the basement or on the far side of your apartment, and that's not necessarily the best place to put a microphone listening to your voice commands. So what I'm hoping is that good friends of Apple will probably do a Siri in a box kind of device, yes, but it will not have any Airport Extreme compatibility. It will probably just use the existing Wi-Fi and maybe have an Ethernet port to minimize the delay in the response time. So that's what I'm thinking. Unless Apple is actually all into those mesh network thingy and will crank out a new airport series of products with integrated speakers, microphones in little devices as mesh network. So you would maybe like get a 2-pack, and each of those little device would create a mesh network in your house, and each of those will have their own microphones and their own speakers. So you need one more, you just get one more. If you want one for the office, you can get like the express version, which would be smaller and probably fit on your desk instead of being like in the corner of the room or something. So this for me makes more sense. Piggybacking on the recent mesh networking development, and still keeping up with the Siri in a box kind of thing. So yeah, that's what I'm imagining right now.
Do you see any use of like Google Home or Amazon? What's its name? Echo.
Yeah.
Like, would you use it?
I'm not too keen into those voice control things, but then again, I haven't gotten any of those, and maybe it's something that you kind of develop in terms of the habits. That's why at the last Black Friday, Amazon was giving people extra rebates if they were ordering through the Echo. So the exact same product on Amazon was a certain price, and if you would buy it through the through a voice command, you would get like $10 or $20 off and a gift card. So they're pushing hard to get people to use that feature of purchasing using voice command. So of course, if you read this, you can understand that this is for the impulse buy. So if you're saying that, oh, I need this thing, and hey Alexa, just buy me this thing, it's even faster than clicking 3 pages and then seeing the total with taxes and shipping and then clicking like order. So maybe that's where they want to go with this voice ordering. But yeah, so to circle back to your question, I'm usually the kind of guy that gets used to stuff like that. So perhaps I would. I've never really used Siri in other situations than just when I'm driving. So I'm not sure I'm going to be the perfect candidate for that, but I'm willing to try and see if that can work. What about you?
I watched the MKBHD video, and he was
Mhm.
saying, he was giving examples of when he uses it and everything, and I don't see myself using any of those except for the ones in the kitchens when I happen to have like a recipe from a European site, and everything is in grams or something, not instead of cups. It's the only time I use Siri to convert measurements and all that, but I don't know when else I would use it. Add stuff to a grocery list, but I wouldn't be able to buy, I think, from the voice command. I'm the kind of guy that quadruple checks every time before checking out in Amazon, make sure I'm shipping to the right place and all that. And I don't know.
Yeah. The other thing where I can find these kind of voice assistant useful is when let's say you're eating supper with your family, and then you somebody has a question like, let's say, I don't know, how old is Justin Trudeau? And that's where people usually take out their phones, look for the information, and then continue the discussion. Well, you could include Alexa or Siri as an extra person in the room and just shout, Siri, how old is Justin Trudeau? And you would get the answer without interruptions or almost in the discussion. So that's one part where, one use case where I think I would probably love it.
Because you can use your phone to do that too, or even your watch.
Yeah, but it's super geeky to just take out your devices and everything. So not everybody, or people will say, ooh, look at you, gadget guy.
On the watch, you just have to turn your wrist and say, hey, Siri. And it get picked up and you can ask your questions. And some questions are even answered on the watch.
Yeah. My voice recognition is not so good with Siri, so on the watch. So it's better. It's better when on the phone, yeah. So in a recent phone also. Anyways, we'll see. There are some nice things that can happen with Apple and the wireless world and Siri in a box, so we'll see that. So hopefully not too far in the future. This week, a person released a book, and it was not Apple this time, but it was about Apple devices. Stephen Hackett of 512 Pixels and Relay FM and a bunch of shows on there released an ebook about the iMac G3. So for those who followed the show a few episodes back, we discussed that Stephen was looking for each and every iMac G3 color. So these are the Aqua, Bundy, and all of the other candy colored iMac.
I think you said it wrong.
What did I say? I said
Is it
Bundy instead of
Bondi?
Bondi. Yeah, probably Bondi.
People get really upset.
Yeah, exactly. So he managed to get all of those, and he did a video. He did a bunch of photos for that. So all pretty nice, but that's not all he had in the back of his mind. He also wanted to make a book about those little computers, and this book actually has pictures and words. So that's pretty nice. So he posted that on the ebook store, and you can also buy it as a PDF. It's not $400, so you can run right now and buy it. It's
$4.
It's $4, yeah. So
it's $3.99 US.
So it's a very, very nice book, and there's lots of information if you're wondering about the state of things in the 90s with Apple and how they actually brought something on the market that revolutionized many, many things. So I strongly encourage you to look at this and buy it. If you go on the iTunes store, there is also a what do you call that? Like an excerpt or a demo, whatever, of the book.
A sample.
A sample, yeah. So you can sample it, but just from the pics, you can see that it's pretty well made, and it's nice photography and nice information.
Yeah, I've started reading it too. I'm about a quarter in, and it's really good.
Cool. Yeah, so I only read a page or two, skimmed the rest, took a few pictures, and posted on Hipster Pixel a link to the show, to the book.
It's not a really, really long book. I think it's 80 pages in iBooks.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Exactly. It's perfect. I'm hoping he makes a physical copy so that can be a coffee table book that actually is not $400.
Yeah. Well, the layout on everything is already nice for a book.
Yep.
It's not just simple PDF pages. They're white with text. It's all images inside in the backgrounds, images on the sides, and the layout is nice.
And the header and everything.
Yep.
So there are a few changes on the market right now. Apart from old Macs, there's now old smartwatches. Motorola stops pushing the smartwatch they say indefinitely. So they probably stop developing those. They probably realize that they're not selling enough. So that's for Motorola. There's also Fitbit, who purchased the Pebble, which was this little e-ink display smartwatch that came out on the Kickstarter a few years ago. And since then, they've been making a couple more watches. That is very bad for Pebble, because not too long ago, they were offered $740 million by Citizen, makers of mechanical watches. That was last year. And now they were purchased for $40 million. So it's like less than like 1/20th of this amount. And even Intel did a bid, I think it was earlier this year, for $70 million. So it was even twice what they got right now. So basically, I'm thinking that they don't have the products to maintain the company afloat super long. So this was probably like a outright purchase to get the technology and a couple of smart people to reinvest money in the ideas.
Did they say they're going to close Pebble? Did I hear that somewhere?
Well, they already laid off 25% of the staff in March. Okay. So that's because they probably had revenue issues, and that was just to stay afloat, to be able to spend less money and actually get this equal to what they were earning. So yeah, I'm not sure that this company was going very well. The last couple of products that were sold are kind of like over the place. There's a smartwatch. There's like a little thingy that's like an iPod that you clip on your clothes. That does your your tracking, but not everything. And I think there's no music in there, so there were a bunch of products, but nothing was very clear of where they were going. The original Pebble that was super nice, was great because it was kind of like on the first on the market. The second one was with a color e-ink screen, which was pretty nice to have, but
And it was cheap too, no?
yeah,
Like
much
you
cheaper.
bought it through Kickstarter?
Yeah, I think it was like less than $200, so like less than half of an Apple Watch. So that was all great, but it's they're kind of like they're missing something to just go further. Like, what's the next great big product from them? And I don't know, maybe they had great ideas, but they did not have the money to actually make this concrete. So that's why they were purchased. They probably started to look around for a potential buyer. And now it's done. It's Fitbit. So we will see how this goes.
So I guess Fitbit is doing good.
Well, they had their own problems. They had problems with certain products. They had problems with the I think it was the casing of their products. So, but I think that's all fixed now. But yeah, they probably, or they have more investors and they were just looking to do something, and Pebble was already working on that. So just getting Pebble was easier than doing it themselves.
My mother-in-law just got one. It's pretty nice. The app
Yeah.
too is there's a lot of stuff in the app, like a lot of features.
Yeah. Their sensors are getting better. I think there was also a problem with sensors. They were misreporting whatever steps or distance. I don't know if it was more or less, but either or, it was a big problem for them. Since then, I hope they fixed that. So
The first one she got she wasn't able to pair it with their phone. So then she said she'll wait for me to come and do it for her. Then I can do it. So she had a unworking device for like a month and a half, and finally she went back to the store. She exchanged it, and the new one works.
yeah, okay. So yeah, they're not far from having no problem, but if they can fix those, and if they happen to get those like in small numbers, it's not a big problem. But they do have a big faithful gang of
Client
people
base.
using client base. So basically, if these people get eventually the new one, because they're a lot more cheaper than an Apple Watch or a phone, so if they can get new ones every year or every 2 year, I think just that amount of people will help them continue to grow slightly.
And the brand name too is very strong. Everybody knows them as Fitbits.
Yeah, they worked well on that. So
It's like Kleenex and all that.
Yep.
We call the product the name of the brand.
Yep. Speaking of branding, Casey Neistat, famous YouTuber star, is now going to work for CNN. He's gonna his app Beam, which was acquired by CNN, and along with the 11-person team. So basically, CNN grabbed Casey Neistat and his app team to build a new media brand, I guess, on the internet or something. So people see this as Casey being just a sellout. So personally, I just thought maybe we should just wait and see what he's going to say about that. Basically, the first video that came out, he said that he was doing something else. The daily vlogging thing was kind of done for him. He had fun doing it, and now it was getting less and less fun. So he was concentrating onto something else. And then the second video that came after, the announcement, now that we learned that he was hired to do something with CNN, but it's still not defined. Basically, they purchased him and his team, and just because of their skills, and they're just going to work on the details later. So that's what we know for now.
I just found that the first video that he posted saying he was quitting the vlog and everything, and then we get the news of the CNN thing, and then he released another video to explain the CNN thing. He should have never released the video saying he's quitting the vlog to do something new. He should have just waited for the CNN news and then his explanation with the CNN one.
Yeah.
So I found that was a sellout, like BS part there. Oh, I'm quitting the vlog because I want to do something new. And then, oh, you've just been bought for $25 million. That's why you're quitting the vlog. But I have no problem with that. I'd take the money right away and do something new. But just don't say it's because you're not challenged creatively and then this comes out, it doesn't look good. I find that's it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people on YouTubers that feel the need to explain themselves before and after something like that happens. And I think it's just in the same kind of mental state that he was. He wanted to explain something, explain, I guess, his feelings about how he felt about his current channel. And then the news broke out, and then he also felt he need to explain what he's going to do, how it's is going to have, how this is going to affect the channel on YouTube and everything. So, anyways, they just try to communicate as much as they can. Maybe, yeah, like you said, it's not the perfect PR thing, but he's not a PR guy. He's a video guy, so.
And we don't know when he released the video saying he was quitting. Maybe the deal wasn't even done with CNN, but.
Yeah, maybe it was maybe just like we agreed to some little things, and there were still points to clarify and lawyers to do the work and everything. So
I didn't know about him. I just found out like a couple of weeks ago. I've never seen a video of him. The only video I saw was the one with the guy behind the police car in New York in a snowstorm doing skis, like water skiing but on the snow.
Yeah, exactly. So well, it was a snowboard. So
yeah, see, so long ago I don't even remember.
And at the end, the cops were just saying, "Hey guys, don't do this. Come on, have a nice day." And he was like, "Yay, not arrested."
Because wasn't he doing it behind a cop car?
No, it was doing it behind a Jeep.
Oh,
with chains on the wheels. So. And near the end of the video, the cops pull him over and say, and they're like, "Oh shit, we're in deep trouble because all with the flashers and everything." So, and the cops were just saying, "Come on, guys, don't do this. All right, have a nice day," and they just go away. He's like, "Yay!" So after this purchase from CNN and Motorola stopping smartwatches, we now have Panic, makers of status board, that announced that they're discontinuing the development of the status board app. So just a quick summary, status board is an iPad app that allows you to create like custom dashboards with the pie charts, line graphs, bar graphs, maps, counters, a bunch of data, and displayed in a very nice, very professional way. A very high quality app. It was used by many companies, even by their own companies, to have status boards of their sales and everything per app, and see exactly the impact of promotions on a close to real time. So basically, very nice product. $10, not too expensive. What they realized that it was not sufficient to pay for the development cost of future versions. So they're discontinuing it. Sadly, they said that companies were paying $3,000 for display just to be used with their $10 app. So you can see that there's a little problem there, that they make all the hard part of that and they would just get like $10 for it. And companies were buying $2,000 display for that. So they should have probably cranked up the price, maybe released a new version every year with a bunch of new features and charge again another, I don't know, 30, 40, $50. Sadly, they're just stopping. I would hope that maybe they leverage that new subscriber model that many developers are starting to use, and probably push new features like that every year. So I don't know. We will see.
You guys have a status board at work. Was this a Panic?
No. No, sadly, it's all Kibana related and all that. So it's just some tools that are parsing our logs and displaying numbers and graphs and everything. Have you ever tried status board?
No. All we have is a Jenkins board.
Okay. Well, status board is very nice. It's easy to develop, and you can also, if you want to get your hands dirty, you can even create little widgets in HTML and JavaScript and CSS and tell the board to load this little widget from your web server. So you can really do like anything. It's I think it's the best status board solution you can find, just because it's so diversified and so hands-on. Sadly, it's only $10. I think there was like an in-app purchase you can get to get like a couple more types of widgets, but even that, I don't know. I think it was like $10 or $12 for that in-app purchase. Even at $20 per person, they don't sell those in the millions every year. So they really need some other type of revenue for that. So yeah, that's basically it. Something a little bit more happy now. Studio, because the last 4 years were kind of like depressing.
This is very happy.
Yeah. So Studio Neat released a new product this week called the Canopy. You will remember the origami case. Was it from Incase that made that?
I think
don't remember. But basically what the Canopy is, it's a kind of a sleeve.
Canopy.
Canopy? What did I say?
Canopy?
Canopy? Canopy? Canopy.
Canopy? No.
Can we just say couch? So the Canopy is a case for your Magic Keyboard that folds around it. And when you unfold it, there's a little snap with a leather band where you kind of propped it up, and then you can put your iPad on it. So it's kind of like an iPad holder and a keyboard, transporter kind of thing. The keyboard sticks to the canopy with little microsuction surfaces, so it's not gonna sticky all the back of your keyboard. It's gonna be there very solidly installed, and it can also be wrapped around it very tightly. And since the Magic Keyboard is so small and compact, it's going to be pretty nice for your iPad needs. It works with every device: iPhone, iPad mini, iPad Pro Small, iPad Big, everything. So it's currently being in pre-order from their Studio Neat Instagram account. We saw this week that they finally got their products through customs. It took an extra week than expected, but now the part that comes from China is actually there. I don't know exactly if everything comes from parts from China or if it's only the material. I know these guys are pretty prone to like test a bunch of different leathers and a bunch of different buttons and everything. So when they can, they order stuff from the US. When the material dock was made in the US, most of it, and it had cork from Portugal. So anyways, it's currently in pre-order. It's $40. Pretty amazing. I'm really looking forward to try this, and if I can get my hands on one, I will report back.
It's stupid, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
I can't believe nobody thought about this yet. It's really neat. See what I did there?
Yes, I see.
Also, it's $40. It's just for the stand, so you have to have a keyboard and an iPad, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, of course. But if you already have a Magic Keyboard and it's not a big purchase to have something that's pretty neat, that fits in your bag pretty neatly.
Okay, I think you've pushed this a little bit too far.
Come on. Yeah, so that's about it for this little device. In terms of apps, for the apps corner, Firecore, released Infuse 5, which is their new big version of the media player app for iOS and tvOS. It brings back a couple of features that were long in the wait, like split view and picture-in-picture. So you can, let's say on your iPad, you can watch a movie on the left side while you have Twitter on the right side, and that works fine. You also have cloud streaming, so you can configure Infuse to read files from your Dropbox, Google Drive, and OneDrive. And also, all your settings you set, well, not all of the settings, but many of the settings are shared across iCloud. So your up next item, your playback settings, some metadata, your favorites, and your network shares will all be shared across. And I think there's a couple more features. Yeah, there's a new video playback. There's also better subtitle support, an iOS document picker, and translations. So solid release for them.
New design also, obviously.
Yeah, new design also. And they are trying something different this year. If you've been using this app, you know that every year they would bring out a new version of the app, which was a new app completely. So you had to repurchase the app outright, and they would do that in cycles. So they would only like have one major release per year, and that was this big this big release with all the new features. So this year they're trying something different. You have the app, which is free, and you have a subscription for $7 per year. If you buy it before, I think December 11, after that it will be $8.99. So you would get that subscription every year, and they would get more money the next year. So it's good for you, it's good for them. Or if you think that you don't need to pay every year for this app and you just need one version for basic usage, you can get the standalone pro version, which is come on.
I think it's $6.99.
Not the standalone version, it's more expensive. $12.99 US or $18 in Canada. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I've been using this forever on my phone, and this app was the single reason why I wanted an Apple TV. Basically, all my videos on my NAS, they can be just streamed across my local network on the wire. So this is super reliable, super fun, and it's kid proof and it's wife proof also. That is not very technical. So
Yeah, I can
that's
confirm.
all. So yeah, I strongly encourage you to take a look at Infuse. The links will be in the show notes.
Yeah, me too. As soon as it came out, I just buy it because I know I use it every day on the Apple TV. It's really great. I don't use it on the phone at all. I don't even think I have it installed. But on the Apple TV, it's really great.
Yep, amazing quality and pretty nice app also. This next bit of app or news app is not so recent. It came out, I think, like early last month. Basically, Adobe, in one of those conference, they had a keynote presenting the next version of Audition, which is their audio editing and app. And they showed something that's pretty crazy. Let's say you have an audio track of about 20 minutes of somebody talking. Let's say, I don't know, Obama is talking for 20 minutes. You have the clip, you just put it in Audition. And if you think you're missing a part, or if you want to add a few words here and there, you can actually just like type the text, and using that 20 minutes of sampling, it's going to create the audio with the voice of the person and add it to the track, basically.
That's spooky.
So, yeah, it's pretty spooky. It's like, they say it's like Photoshop for the audio. So basically you could, if you have enough sampling of a person, you could write maybe whole speeches like that. So you can get your favorite ex-president and make him tell jokes or whatever, or even mean stuff, because that's the internet. Let's not forget.
I used to listen to a late night show, late night with the Late Show, whatever the name, and they do this with George W. Bush. They'd take bits of a bunch of his speeches and make him say stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But in video. I can't imagine the time of getting all the little words and then make him and say a sentence, and it must be horrible.
Yeah, they also do that with Obama, like Obama.
The song.
Yeah, the songs, exactly. So it's a very intensive project, because usually you need to, I guess, identify each words you need and sample them down to just a single word, and then add the different delays and wait times in between words to make the sentence make sense.
Imagine that that project file.
Yeah.
Of all the little clips of words.
Yeah, I'm hoping they use some software for that, because just doing this in a waveform editor would be crazy. So yeah, there'll be a link in the show notes. You can see a little demo from the Adobe Creative Cloud conference, and it's pretty awesome. They call it Voco, so voice conversion. So it's a text box. You type in the text, and it creates you a spoken audio clip. So yeah, I'm looking forward to try this and see how I can get this just for little snippets of fun. So that's it for the. No, we have one more app.
Yeah, it's me. It's called Trip Mode. I'm sure I've talked about it before, but or else whatever. We'll talk about it again because I love it.
I looked in the show notes, but I couldn't find it. So
I know. We talked about it, but I think we talked about it. Sorry. So it's just a Mac app that lives in the status bar, and it's perfect for me because the icon is a little train on rails, and I use it in the train, so I had to buy it. It's very simple. It only lives in the status bar, and when when I use the Wi-Fi when I hotspot from my phone, this turns on automatically. Then I have a setting of all the apps that are open, and I can restrict the internet access to them. So, and then this is saved per device. So it knows I'm on my phone. It knows I don't want to have Dropbox syncs enabled, so it closes it all automatically. So it's all little stuff like that, and it's really fun. It's really useful too.
Yeah, because I can see you go overboard easily.
Yeah.
When you edit our podcast, that's about 800 megs. Yeah, so.
Yeah, because then when I add the file to Dropbox, I think it's almost a gig sometimes.
Yeah.
Not the MP3 there, the GarageBand file.
Mm-hmm.
So if I start uploading a gig while I'm on my phone, Wi-Fi, my phone's LTE network, it's going to be, first of all, slow. And second of all, I'm going to run out of
data plan.
Yeah, of my data plan pretty quick. So this is a good app to save that. And I tether to my phone a lot at work too, sometimes for testing. So this is great too. You can only allow it to use Safari, so you're the one that controls what has access to internet and what's happening.
Cool. I'll need to use it because more and more I bring my laptop when I go some places and I tether on my data plan. So yeah, that will come in handy for sure. So, gadget and review corner. Over the last couple of weeks ago, I got my hands on two Google Pixels. One was the regular Pixel, which is the regular size, and the other one was the XL. So I got the XL in black, and I got the regular size in white. And in order to do let's say, a dual review, I figured I should lend one of those to my friend Tyler, so he can look at it and see what he feels about it. I'll let you go first. What do you think about all the design of the phone?
I haven't used it as long as you. The design of the product itself is pretty nice. I was worried about the wedge shape thing, like being really noticeable in hand, but you don't notice it at all. I've passed it to people, and then I have to point it out. Hey, have you seen it's wedge? And you don't feel it at all. And everybody's been like, what do you mean wedge? And then they put it on the side, and that's when they realize, because you don't see it. It's not top heavy. It's not nothing. I like the glass in the back. It reminds me of the iPhone 4.
For the wedge shape, just for those who don't know what we're talking about, is basically the phone is not the same height everywhere. The part where you have the camera, so the top part is actually thicker than the bottom part. So kind of like a MacBook Air, you would get a very, very thin edge near you. And at the opposite side where you have the hinge, you would get something that's thicker. This is the same thing with the Pixel phone. Is that because of the camera? From the look of it, the camera looks to be recessed inside. Maybe it's because of the flash. Maybe it's because of the fingerprint sensor. But basically what Google did is that they made it thicker so that everything would fit flat. So there's no protruding lens or flash or button or everything. It's pretty flat. So that's the wedge shape.
Yeah, so that's nice. It's a clever way to not having a camera bump without compromising feel or like design or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so I like the glass in the back. I like the feeling of the glass. It's smooth and less slippery. The sensors on the back of the phone there, it almost works better than Touch ID for my fingers, because I think we've talked about this before. I have my fingers don't work with Touch ID. They work
Yeah.
like 50% of the time, so it's too much of a pain. So I always take it off, even with the 6S and everything. So we'll see with the 7. But with the Nexus, not with the Nexus, with the Pixel, it works really well. Other than that, I like the edges are round, but they have like this little chamfered edge, I think we can call.
Yeah, it's chamfered edge, similar to what Apple did with the iPhone 5 and 5S, but it's not the exact same thing. So it's not a direct ripoff.
It's a bit big, like they're bigger.
Yeah. Are they kind of like also like not rounded, but kind of slightly curved? So they're not as aggressive as they were on the 5 and 5S, but they do affect the way you hold it in your hand. It feels a little bit rougher than a rounded edge is, and it's always a good thing because it's better grip when you grab it by the sides.
That was my first impression. I found it like am I gonna cut myself with this thing? Like it's really rough, but then you get used to it, and actually I think it's more grippy than the round edges we have on the iPhone now.
Yep,
so that's good. No home button. That takes some getting used to.
Yeah, there's only a what's like maybe 50 pixel bar on the screen, which is inside the touchscreen. So you do have your home, your back button, everything as you usually have on Android, but it's not physically separated from the screen. It's a reserved space on the screen.
Yeah, so I keep jabbing on the chin of the phone to go back to the home screen. It doesn't work, but it's just a habit. But other than that, for design, I think it's pretty good. Like just a physical device.
One thing I forgot to give you is the little accessories. So I'll talk about the onboarding process. What Google did is super smart. First of all, this is a USB-C phone. So you got a USB-C connector on the bottom. And of course, you're provided with a USB-C cable. But what they also put in the box is a second cable, which is USB-C to USB-A. So you can use it with any computer that has a standard USB port. So that's super nice. But what's even nicer is that they have a onboarding process where if you're coming from an iPhone and you're going to a Pixel, they provide you with this little dongle, which is on one side is USB-C, so you can plug it in your phone, and the other side is a USB-A female adapter, so you can plug in your Lightning cable from your phone, your iPhone, to your Google Pixel, and then the Google Pixel kind of like mimics an iTunes library, if you want, or something. So once you allow it to have access, it can import all your text messages, all your contacts, and everything. So the onboarding is much more easier. Being reviewing Android phones for many years, I usually keep all my stuff in Google Apps anyways, so it's not too bad. The contacts are there, the calendars are there. But over the years, I've started to use iCloud more and more for those kind of things. And just before I received it, I'm like, oh yes, I have to transfer everything, and then I'll get duplicates and stuff like that. It's not the case. This onboarding process is a very idiot proof. It's step by step, and they even tell you at which point go into your iCloud settings, disable iMessage, wait a few minutes, this and that. So it's very like step by step, so you can be sure that your text messages will come through this phone and not through iMessage on your other iPhone. So it's seriously, it's one of the best onboarding process I've had, and every step of the way there's always a link with more information. You can just tap and it explains you in maybe a page or two exactly what's happening, why you're doing this or that. So really hats off for Google. They did an amazing job for that. So that's for the onboarding. I kind of share your comments on the design. I prefer the bigger one because I'm a Plus Club member, so I prefer the. I kind of like a member of Costco when I say that, but yeah, basically I prefer the plus size. The main reason being that the screen is the same size, but the feel in the hand is different. It's it's a bit smaller, so it fits better in my hands because there's a bit less chin and a bit less forehead than a regular plus size iPhone. Putting them side by side right now, I would say it's a good 7 or 8 millimeters in length, less, and yeah, probably like a good 2 or 3 millimeters on the width, smaller. So it's pretty compact in the hands. I am able to reach a bit more on it. I've only used it naked, so I don't have a case for it. So that also helps on the size because I'm usually a case guy for my iPhone. Yeah, the only thing I would say that I'm not super hyped about, I would say, is the USB-C connector. Not because
I know.
I'm
I
against.
know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, not because I'm against USB-C per se. All the ideas of USB-C is nice, but if you look into the little hole of the device, you've got that protruding connector, if you want. So instead of being like the Lightning, which is just the cable is like a male plug, which has sensors at the bottom of the port. This one has a little outgoing connector thing. So when you plug it in, sometimes I feel it's in the way. So I'm afraid I'm going to break it basically. So that's my gripe about the USB-C connector.
Okay, I thought you were gonna talk about the USB-C connector is not in line with the two little speakers they have at the bottom.
Yeah, that also.
Would kill me to plug
Yeah.
my phone every night and see it's not aligned.
Yeah, same thing for the headphone connector. Sorry, on top. Yeah, it's like half of it. Well, 2/3 of it are on the flat side, and 1/3 is on the curved side. So that's also weird for the look, uneven, uncentered. But like you said, the touchscreen, the fingerprint sensor is great. It's super fast. I kind of like where they position it. I usually don't. Yeah, I usually move my hand around when I try to use the Touch ID, and I've gotten used to it. So it's not such a big problem for me. But you realize after a while that you do less movement when you're on your Pixel because your finger is already on the back. That's where you hold your phone normally when you do stuff on it. So it's less hand movement. So that's better.
I'm in the pinky stand club.
Yeah.
So so that means my phone rests on my pinky there. So extending my index finger to go get the sensor was kind of far sometimes, but I guess it's something you adjust to.
Yeah, it's exactly. On the camera side, the camera itself is surprisingly good. Android phones never had, well, not Android phones, let me rephrase that. Google Nexus phone never had such a great camera. They had okay cameras, but this time, I don't know what they did, but they actually got some crazy good camera. The low light sensitivity is amazing. The pictures are vivid and they're super nice. And it's not even like a DCI P3 camera kind of thing. It's a regular camera. So that's surprisingly good. There's only one part that I don't like about all the marketing behind the Pixel is they are super amped about that DxO Mark mobile score of 89, saying that it's even better than the iPhone 7 when the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus were released before the Pixel, and that site still did not post their iPhone 7 reviews. So looking at this, you can see that Google probably paid the DxO Mark not to review the iPhone Plus. So yeah, basically, I don't like that marketing stuff because I'm really looking forward that iPhone 7 Plus review because both iPhones have different cameras. In this case of the Pixel, the XL and the regular have the exact same camera. So
That's
what
nice.
what are you getting in terms of difference between the two models is just a bigger screen and 1 more gig of RAM. So
Because I'm still on the fence about iPhone 7 or 7 Plus just because of the stupid camera.
yeah. So yeah, that's probably the only difference there is. Have you tried the Google Assistant stuff?
No.
Yeah, I mean, just a few. It's useful, but I'm not so much into that Assistant stuff. I'm more of a typing guy, so that's not the best thing. Talking to my phone, yeah,
And I can't really talk about Android because I've never used it and I've never experienced Android. And coming from iOS, it feels like crap, or not crap, but just it feels weird.
Look at you, little fanboy.
I know, but I don't want it. I'd give it a chance, but I just it doesn't work.
Yeah, I'll try to put this into different words. Basically, when you're used to the way an iPhone and iOS reacts, it's so fluid, so reactive. Even though Android 7.1 makes huge leaps of enhancement, and the way that it looks and it reacts, it's so much better. There are still some little nagging delays here and there in some animations. The way that the touchscreen reacts when you swipe fast, it's not as on par or as precise or as fast as on iOS. So that's probably what you're referring to.
Yeah, just try to pinch to zoom. It doesn't work.
Yeah, there's still something over there that on Android, it's still not perfect.
It's like a second behind. You're trying to zoom for the on a picture you took on the camera, and it's horrible.
Yeah, well, even just like sliding through your drawer of apps,
scrolling the setting lists and everything.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong, it's so much better than like the Nexus phones from a couple of years ago. It's very like more advanced, but it's still not perfect the way that I don't know. I like probably because of I read something about the thread model that on iOS the animations and the reaction of the touchscreen is
and
like
the garbage collection too on Android.
Yeah, makes it so that on iOS it's like I would say a priority to render those perfectly, and then whatever other features your apps are doing are going on top of that. While on Android, it's at the same level in terms of processing priority than the rest of your app. So that's probably why sometimes it lags a bit behind. But for me, basically, the OS itself and the device would not be a problem for me to going from iOS to Android. For me, it's mostly the apps. I'm becoming so dependent on a bunch of apps on iOS like Infuse, Workflow, Get2Go. What else? These
Tweetbot.
Tweetbot, OneWriter. So I've got a bunch of apps that I use every freaking day, and without those, well, iMessage and Google Message is not such a big difference. But
then you have to use green bubbles. Do you want to be one of those?
Yeah, green bubbles for the win. Yeah, so it's mostly down to the apps and how I use it. I guess for people playing with games, it's not such a big problem, but for me, for productivity stuff, there's a bunch of apps that I rely to daily, and also syncing between macOS and iOS. Many apps I use have a macOS equivalent, and I can do my stuff on the Mac and then go back to my phone and it's all synced. So these are the main reasons why I don't switch to Android. From an Android perspective, I think this is the best Android phone you can get your hands on. I've tested one on the TELUS network. TELUS provided me with the Google Pixel in white, and Google provided me with the XL, so I was able to test both. Seriously fast computer. The LTE is super fast. That's very nice. Seriously, I don't think you should consider any other Android phone this year. This is, of course, a premium phone. It's expensive, but it's also everything you wish in an Android phone, I would say. Great camera. The video stabilization is super effective. If you do pans from left to right or top to bottom, there's a slight readjustment delay that goes in, which is weird, but that's to be expected. It's all software stabilized. It's not optically stabilized like the iPhone 7 Plus. But no, seriously, I strongly recommend this. I know you got friends who are Android users. I guess they are pretty hyped about this device.
Yeah, they just find it too expensive.
Yeah, because they're used to have $200 phone, $300 phones that usually you can get those for $0 on a contract.
Yeah. Or just the Nexus phones used to be really cheap. Even outright, they'd be like $200 or $300.
Yep. So,
but those days are over.
Yeah, because now Google is now going to the Apple way of stuff. So they sell a more expensive device, and you have more services that comes with it. You got Google Photos with that phone that is unlimited. You've got a bunch of stuff like that. So they do the software, they do the hardware, and now if you buy their whole package, you get even more good stuff. So if you were an Android user, would that be like your device that you would recommend? Or
I've
you would
never used another one, but I think for sure, just looking
yeah,
at the pictures and seeing the other device at my carrier store there, I think for sure it'd be that one.
cool.
It
All
looks
right.
like an iPhone physically, basically.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So that's it for this week. So you can find the show notes at rgba.fm/31. And you can follow us on Twitter at _RGBAfm. I'm Valia, VALLIERES.
I'm Tyler Menard, TYLERMENARD.
So that's it for this week. Have a nice week.
Have a nice week.